What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shay Renee, and I am finally able to get on here to do this Real Housewives in New York video. Y'all, let me tell you something. If you are not watching the Real Housewives of New York reboot, you are totally missing out. This show is so cute. Like, I love it. It literally embodies what you would think New York is all about. They're very, shout out to my boy Scotty. They're very young, fresh, and new. Okay? Like, seriously. But let's get into it, shall we?
Man. Can't ball in a life, man. Go on with it, go on with it. Do us. So we are coming in with a force. Yeah. Blessing the reap and we coursing on.
All right, y'all. So we're going to kind of freestyle this review because I can't look at no notes, but I'm also stuck in traffic. So we just going to have a good old conversation about the Real Housewives of New York ladies. And I'm driving in D.C., so you got to be playing defense, okay? So, y'all, the episode starts off where Sai, she is the influencer. She's a social media influencer, and she has a ton of bags. I'm like, girl, how did you bring your whole closet? She literally had 8 bags of luggage going to the Hamptons. So they're going to the Hamptons to go over to Aaron's house, okay? So Aaron is the one that got into it with Bryn on the last episode that we talked about in the last review, okay? And then so Uba comes to Sai's house to pick her up. And then Jessel shows up, and Jessel got a whole bunch of daggone bags too. I'm like, y'all going to this lady house for 3 days. Why do y'all have so much crap? I just don't understand. But I guess, listen, Sai said, I am a social media influencer. I'm going to bring all my whatnots and who what's, and I'm going to take a picture in it. I'm going to take a picture of my food, and I'm going to take a picture in all my outfits, and I'm bringing it. And nobody better not say a goddamn thing about it. Okay? So moving on, they're on their way down there, and Aaron, meanwhile, back at the ranch, Aaron is at the house getting everything set up. Okay, so I thought her home, she lives in Sag Harbor. Now, if y'all don't know, that's where all the rich people go, and they have homes and things there. I didn't even know those homes were there. Okay, they go there and live the lifestyle of the rich and famous in a big house and go and hang out with other people that's rich like them. Okay. So her and her husband, their families, Aaron and her husband Abe, their families have always vacationed in the Hamptons. So they wanted to have a house too, so that they can continue that tradition with their children. So they bought a fixer upper, and they got the house. Now the house, when they first bought it, it looked like trash. It looked terrible. But Erin is a real estate. She's a real estate agent and also an investor. She did an amazing job transforming that place around. It looked absolutely gorgeous. So Erin has caviar caterers. Now you know that's some rich people stuff to have caterers for caviar. Caviar already expensive as hell, and you gonna have a caterer come. Now the caterers came and they put the caviar on some Pringles, which I was like, okay, caviar on a Pringle, all right, that's interesting. Then they had it on different types of vegetables and all this different stuff, and it just looked like she had 2 of her friends come over and put caviar on different stuff. That's what it looked like. They ain't look like no caterers. They wasn't dressed in no chef coats, nothing. So okay, Aaron, whatever. Caviar caterers, that's a new thing. So Jenna arrives at the house, and so Jenna sees the caviar, and she's excited to be there. I love Jenna. Jenna is like kind of socially awkward, but I can later on in the episode we find out that Jenna's mom had Asperger's. Okay, and if you don't know what Asperger's is, it is a disorder where you really are not self-aware. Like, you know how sometimes when people can tell when conversations are, getting a little stale, or it's time for you to kind of bow out gracefully, or you're just not emotionally intellectual, if you catch my drift. And her mother was like that. But Jenna doesn't strike me as a person like that. I feel like because of her mother's disorder, she is extra aware. But there could be sometimes where she's not, and she may just be a little bit awkward. But she just is so unique to me. Like, I am so drawn to her. I just love her. I love her personality. I really, really do. Her and Sai right now are my favorites. So while they're on the way, meanwhile the other ladies still on their way, they done called Aaron because Uba is like, "Child, I am hungry. Do you have food?" Okay. So Aaron is like, "I got some caviar here for y'all." And Sai had already made a joke in the car on the way, like, she gonna have a whole lot of cheese. She probably ain't gonna have no food, because in the last episode, they was talking about how Sai and Aaron had like a little tiff back and forth because Aaron thought that Sai was talking about her cheese plate. So because of that, Aaron was like, "I'm gonna fix y'all. I'm gonna get you some caviar. There's some rich people stuff right here. You can't complain about caviar," which they ended up complaining about the caviar because they said that they were hungry. So Uber is like, "I'm going to Provisions when I get there. I hope your feelings not gonna be hurt, but I want a little more than some daggone caviar." Okay. So moving on. Right, Dean S says, "Girl, where the real food?" Right, exactly. Like, girl, you could have had a real caterer coming in, and even like a charcuterie board or something with or like some little sandwiches, or like, some little finger food until they went out to the restaurant later on that evening. Something. I thought that was just ridiculous to not have any real food out for them to eat and just some caviar. I just feel like that was a flex, in my opinion. So, moving on, Jenna is there. She pulls up in her vintage vehicle. I didn't really get a chance to see what kind of car it was. I think it was a vintage Rolls Royce, or it could have been a Bentley. I'm not sure, but it's a car that people that got money is driving, and not me. Okay. So Jenna, like I said, is nervous about being overnight with the ladies. She's only like really been overnight with lovers, not really so much girls sleepovers or whatever the case may be. But she's excited to try it out and be there and have a good time. So they go into the living room, and I love how Jenna just came in and she was just so comfortable, just flopped down on the couch chair, and just had a good old conversation with Aaron, like her good girlfriend was there to give her good old hospitality. So they're talking, and she's like, "So what are the perks that I get for being first, for getting here first?" And Aaron was like, "You want more perks outside of the caviar?" And Jenna was like, "Yeah, I should get something for being here first." Now, mind you, Jenna is joking, but I love how Aaron didn't take it so seriously. Like, Aaron in the first episode strikes me as a person that has sort of an attitude. But I'm learning that Aaron doesn't take herself too seriously, but she is very assertive. And she's not going to let anybody just walk all over her and tell her any goddamn thing. So the ladies are still, so Jessel, Sai, and Uba are still on the way. Now, child, Jessel said that she ain't gave her man no pouditoire for 2 years since they had their children. So Jessel and her husband Pavid, they have a set of twins. They're 2 years old. Okay. So Sai asked her when was the last time her and Pavid did the do, because they were talking about apparently there's going to be like a lingerie night or something like that. All the ladies are going to put on some lingerie. And she's like, "Well, I haven't even." She was talking about her C-section scar and how she just really feels like, self-conscious about it, and that's why she don't really want to do anything, and she's scared. And she was like, I'm tired. We never really have time. I'm either working or the boy, I'm dealing with the kids or whatever. Like, I really just don't have time to do it. And I'm like, girl, you can't not have time to uh give your husband some poon, child. You can't be doing that. Because listen, I am a firm believer, and what you won't do, another heifer is waiting in the wings to do it. Okay. And not saying that that's okay. And Pavitt doesn't seem like the type that, I mean, I don't know him after 2 episodes. We're gonna see. But he seems like he loves his wife. And she even said that her and Pavitt were friends in the beginning, and how Pavitt was just her friend. They were just clearly friends. They lived together. She was even giving him advice on other chicks, but then they ended up getting together because her mother said that they were a cute couple or whatever and they should get together. So they ended up getting married, child, and they had some issues conceiving initially. So she went through like 4 rounds of IVF and she finally had the twins. And what I thought was interesting is Jessel said that she didn't even tell her mother that she went through IVF. She said in her culture it's embarrassing. Like, your body parts don't work or something like that. I'm like, listen, as women, yes, this is something that as women are naturally born, okay, that we naturally feel that we should be able to do. But sometimes, you know, sometimes it just don't work out like that and we need a little extra assistance, and that's okay. And nobody should, in nobody's culture should be making anybody feel bad about how they have to go about bringing life into this world. I really don't believe that. I think that that's messed up if she's feeling that type of energy, like where she don't feel like she can talk about it openly. And I just really feel like that's messed up. Like Jessel seems very, very guarded. And I'm excited to hopefully see her open up because she was acting real stank at the end of this episode. But we're gonna get into that. So Jessel deprived her husband for 2 years, child, but she be slobbing on the knob. That's she did say she be doing that. But I'm like, dang. So he just been getting head for 2 years. How tragic. How dreadful. I would like. I really feel. Was sitting over there feeling bad for Mr. Poppin. I'm like, oh my god. And then they were like, do you have toys or anything? And I would have been mad if she did say she did have toys, because I'm like, girl, if you out here playing with yourself and not giving it up, it's not that you scared for him to go back in the hole, girl. You just, I don't know what's going on with Jessel, but Jessel better get it together. So moving on, they pull up, all the ladies pull up to the house finally, and Uba is hungry, child. So she dips off because she going to provisions. Okay, so she goes to provisions because she wants a sandwich. She don't want the caviar. So they all sit down and they get into having a conversation about Jessel and her not I don't think, no, they're not talking about Jessel not getting it in at this point. They end up talking about um Bryn not coming. Now, y'all, I love me some Bryn. Okay, her her intro, like her tagline got me. She said, if you make me mad, I might sleep with your dad or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, girl. She is hilarious. So she isn't coming because she had to get a steroid uh medication of sorts because she hadn't been feeling well. So she's thinking about trying to come the next day. So hopefully she ends up coming. It looks like she does end up coming on the trip at some point, but I don't know. But moving on, they're sitting there talking and they end up talking about Jenna's mom. Okay. So Jenna's mom just literally passed away like 6 weeks prior to her coming on this trip. And she talks about how her and her mom weren't really that close, but because of her mom's condition, her disorder. But they also talk about Jenna having a home in the Hamptons as well. But she was renting it out to people that were, of course, vacationing in the Hamptons. And she took it off of rental because I think she was staying there or something while her mom was sick and she was taking care of her mom. And now that her mom is gone to glory, she hasn't put it back on the market yet. So she's still kind of, working through that. Then they end up talking about how, I wonder if this was at dinner. I think this was at dinner, actually. Or was it there? I think they ended up talking about how Jenna was outed at work. I think that was at dinner. But anyway, moving on. They end up having that conversation. They're sitting there, and then they make fun of Sai about all the clothes that she brought and ask her where the heck she going. And she said, and I'm going to wear every outfit. I'm definitely doing that. Definitely wearing every outfit. Okay. So everybody gets themselves together. Jenna gives everybody some lingerie that they're going to try on later on. She said that she had one of her stylists or somebody she knows, a colleague of hers, apparently looked at everybody's Instagram pages and said, okay, this is what I think that this person will wear. And Jenna, I think, gave the sizes that she thought everybody would be. So everybody got their lingerie, and they said, "Oh, we're going to put this on later." And Jessel gets hers. It's a pretty green color, but Jessel was like hating on what the lady picked out for her, and I was like, "Girl, you is being real ungrateful." But she was very outspoken about how she didn't like it. She said it looked like money green. It didn't look like it suited her, and she didn't like the fact that somebody got her a large. She was like feeling really insecure, like if it doesn't say extra small or small, then it's rude. I'm like, well, girl, well, maybe your body is rude. I don't know what you're talking about, because I mean, the lady got you your size, and everybody don't wear no daggone extra small and small these days, man. Hell, I'd be happy. I'm happy wearing a medium. Now, large, I ain't gonna tell y'all no lie. When I had to start buying larges after I had my son, and even sometimes now, I still have to get like large shirts and stuff for work and certain things that I buy. And it really still, like, to this day, I'm like, ooh, I need to get back into the gym and get my weights in, because I do a lot of cardio, but not as much in weights as I should. But that's another daggone story. But I say all that to say I kind of feel just as pain. Okay. So moving on, everybody gets themselves together. They go to dinner. So they go to dinner, and they're sitting at the dinner table, and they somebody got to go to the bathroom, child. So they go to the no, this is before they do go to the bathroom thing. They're sitting down talking. Sai is taking her Instagram photos and talking about it's not, I don't just take random photos. There's an art to this, and I make money off of all this stuff that I do, because Jessel was taking photos, and she was like, oh, you can use this photo for your blog. And Sai was like, oh no, that's a terrible picture, let me do it for you. And it looked like she know how to work an iPhone, child. Okay, so she took some really nice pictures of the ladies' drinks and their food or whatever. I guess she was vlogging it. And you can tell she's very good at what she does. People think that being a social media influencer is easy. It's really an art to that stuff. And it's a lot of work. It really, really is. And all that crap that she brought down there, and they only going to be there for 3 days, I hope she do get a lot of content out of it. But moving on, they're sitting there talking, and then they end up talking about Jessel and how she ain't giving her husband none, child. Okay. And she's like, listen, I'm trying, we're doing, you guys, we're doing the lingerie thing this weekend. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and try it out. I'm gonna do it. Like, I guess she's scared that her hole is like so far closed that it's gonna be super painful. And I'm like, girl, you pushed two babies up out of there, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, no shade, but I don't think Pavitt is slanging and slonging that long. Okay, he might have. It's enough where it ain't too daggone painful, child, I'm sure. But she's open to the idea. She says she's going to try. So they kind of pivot that conversation. Jessel says, while we're in the spirit of talking about intimacy, I'm interested to know, Jenna, how did everybody find out, when did you know that you were into the lady? You wanted to dip into the lady pond. And she said, just Jenna tells a story about how she was actually having a conversation with one of her friends. She was out to dinner with one of her friends, and she was like asking, and her friend is a lesbianist, okay? And she was asking her friend, she was like, what is it like? And the friend started to tell her what it was like. And Jenna said she began to get all hot and bothered, and she didn't know why she was feeling that way. And she said she didn't understand it, but she was like really intrigued. She was exploring some different parts of herself mentally and emotionally in that moment that she was not really aware of. Like, she said the closest thing that she had seen to somebody that like the same, um, like ladies when she was growing up was Billie Jean King. And everybody was like, who is that? And she was like, you don't know who Billie Jean King is? Billie Jean King is a tennis player, if y'all don't know. I ain't know either. I had to look this up because I was like, girl, I don't know who the hell that is either. But anyway, she says that she started to have dreams about her friend, and she started to have all these emotions. And at the time, she had been married for a long time. I forgot how long. And she has She had a 14-year-old, 13, was he 12 or 13 at the time? But she had a son she had her son, and she was thinking, okay, I'm married, I have a son. Like, what am I thinking? Like, what am I doing? This really the life for me? So when she decided to explore it, she decided she was 40 years old, and she was like, I'm not about to be going another 40 years unhappy, because she wasn't happy in her marriage. And maybe this was why, because she really wasn't with the type of individual she really wanted to be with. So she ended her marriage, and while it was in the process of ending, she started dating this lady. So she was out to dinner one night, and I guess the Post or some type of media outlet was there taking pictures of her and this person on a date. And so they called J. Crew and pretty much told them, did you know that, they called the PR at J. Crew and told them that she was, dipping in the lady pond. So the PR person called her and said, can you either confirm or deny that this is true? And Jenna said, in that moment, she didn't know what she wanted to do. It was like her life flashed before her eyes, and she was just really in a strange place, because she's in the process of ending her marriage. She's really, like, literally 6 days at this point into exploring these feelings that she was having. So she didn't really know what to say, but she ended up saying, yes, it's true. And so she said from then on, she started living in her truth. And I was like, wow, you know what? I'm so proud of her for feeling empowered to be who she is, and not letting, other people control who her desires and what she wants to do. And I'm glad that her job didn't judge her, because she was in such a high position at J. Crew that they could have easily been like, oh no, you like that? Oh no, we not trying to, you know what I mean? Because back then, I mean, hell, it's really, like, more recently just becoming something that is appropriate, right? So, um, kudos to J. Crew for being open and willing to look at her talent over what she doing in the bedroom, child. Okay, because, well, listen, sometimes you got to pay attention to what people doing in the bedroom, because some stuff is just totally inappropriate what people be doing, but we ain't gonna get into that. But this right here, she just living her life. Okay, so good for Jenna. She was able to live a life, child. So they asked her about whether she's, like, dating anybody right now. And she says, well, I don't really want to go into who I'm dating right now. And in her confessional, she was like, yeah, I don't really like to tell people who I'm dating, because it was it was all in the Post and all in the media the last time she was, caught out in public dating somebody. Everybody doesn't want to live out loud like she does. Just because she's in the public eye doesn't mean that everybody wants to be in the public eye that she's dating. And I get that. And I appreciate her being respectful of the fact that, everybody don't want to be seen. So moving on, they're all sitting at the table. Uber got to go to the bathroom, child. Mind you, I thought it was funny when Uber came in there. She pulled out her damn phone and pulled out a compass. Sorry, y'all. I was getting a phone call. So she pulls out a compass, Uber does, and she always has to sit to the north, because she said it's true north. She has been living in her truth. So she wants to live in her truth and be in positivity. And her and Jenna don't drink, so everybody else was ordering food and drinks, and they didn't. But moving on, they end up going to Uber got to go to the bathroom, child. So she goes downstairs, and they walking all through the daggone kitchen. I'm like, y'all walking all through with people food being made and stuff. Y'all so ghetto to be so rich. So they walking through. Then they end up going passing the pantry on the way back upstairs from the elevator. And Uber go in there and take some daggone coconut cream. She was like, "Oh my God, this is the good coconut cream. I'm taking this with me." I'm like, Uber, don't be the only black girl there stealing, child. This is stealing. Put the daggone cream back. So they go upstairs, and Aaron is like, what you're not gonna do is embarrass me. Okay. Give me that daggone coconut cream, Uber. And she gives it to the waitress and says, yeah, we just saw that. And Uber was like, that's really good coconut cream. It's hard to find that. I'm like, well, good. Y'all know y'all done picked a nice restaurant. But leave the people that daggone coconut cream, Uber. You over here tripping. But y'all, I really love this crew of ladies. I think they are so much fun. We're still learning so much about each and every one of them. I was sad that Bryn wasn't on the episode last on Sunday, but I'm excited to see more of her. I think that is really, honestly, in a nutshell, because they're all really friends. It looks like Jenna is the one that's kind of new to the group. So because the fact that everybody else has, a pretty, they all have seemed to be friends for a while. They mesh so good together, like so good, and it's not drama. It's not like a, so like Carlos King always talks about. No, y'all don't want to see these shows if it's not no drama. It's not a whole lot of drama on New York. It's just fun. Like they like each other. They're having a good time. They're hanging out. They're doing hoity-toity, rich BIEI type of things. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to see. Like that's what I'm going there for. Real Housewives of Orange County and Beverly Hills to see. We don't need to see like like abundance of drama after drama after drama for it to be a nice, for it to be a good show and for it to be entertaining. But y'all get into Real Housewives of New York. Those girls over there are cooking up some good things on that show. Okay, so y'all better get in right now before it start to get even better. But thank y'all for watching. I will be back later on so that we can talk about sisters, okay? And then we're going to talk about Real Housewives of Orange County. We're going to catch up on that. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace out.